Hi friends, and welcome back to Gardening Suburbia. My name is Amanda and we are doing a part 2 of my first solo market. My dog says hello. So today we are going to be getting the cookies ready because they need at least 1 to 2 days of being in the fridge to really keep their shape and so they don't completely flatten out. I do already have a video on this cookie recipe, so I won't be taking you guys along step by step for this recipe. I'll go ahead and link or tag the video up here for you if you guys are interested in making these cookies. They are delicious, and if you do sourdough, I highly recommend this recipe. It's easy. They're delicious, thick, chewy cookies, and you can really play around with what is inside of them. So this morning I went ahead and I got my sourdough starter fed. I have 2 containers. Any extra I will probably dehydrate to sell. I already have a ton of that. But the first step that I need to do is actually clean up my kitchen and get it nice and clean and sterilized so I can make these cookies and also enjoy a cup of coffee because I'm exhausted. Just got off work and it's time to work some more. So let me get the kitchen cleaned and we'll get cookies done. We finished the cookies, or at least getting them doughed up last night, and I got them put in some saran wrap on the trays in my fridge because they don't need to get baked until tomorrow, which is Friday. Tonight, I need to get my starter fed. So I've got it out right now, and I got another jar. Ooh, this way. I got a 1/2 gallon, and I'm going to use this as well to put my starter in because I need 600 grams of sourdough starter for the bagels alone, and then for it's actually a quadruple recipe, but I do a double recipe in this what size pan is this? Of course it doesn't say on there. For my banana bread, I do a double recipe because it just fills out that large pan. It's just so much better. Excuse me. It is a 16 by 4.5 by 3.5. So double recipe for my banana bread and that, but I'm doing two loaves. So basically 4 recipes worth. So I've got that out. I got my big Mama Jamma bowl. I got this at TJ Maxx. Helpful tip. When I was at TJ Maxx and got this bowl, because I had looked on Amazon and they're kind of pricey. At least not like super expensive. I just wasn't willing to pay for it. I went to TJ Maxx, or maybe it was Marshall's, and they had like 10 of these guys. I went through the entire stack and some of them were priced at one price point, and I found this one priced at a lower price point, so I grabbed that one. But I got the big Mama Jamma because I'm doing a quadruple recipe of the cheddar jalapeno bagels. I'm doing 2 double recipes, one of everything bagel and one of the blueberry bagels. So I got all of my ingredients out. I'm going to basically get my flour, sugar, and salt all dished out in those 4 or 3 bowls, just so that they're ready, because I'm going to mix this up in the morning, early in the morning. I need to let it set for about an hour, and then I need to ball them up and then let them set again for 8 to 12 hours. So I work tomorrow, so I'm basically gonna get that started so that I can do the bulk ferment while I'm at work. And then I can go ahead and boil and then bake once I get home. But I thought maybe just giving myself a little grace in the morning, because it's already going to be an early morning, I'll go ahead and just get the flour, salt, and sugar done. So I don't have to worry about it in the morning. I can just get it going. Because in the morning, then I just need to add my sourdough starter, I just need to add my sourdough starter and then also the water, so that those guys can get mixed. But I won't add the water tonight. So let us just kind of dish everything out and get that ready so that we can move on to the next step. Because I still need to make a bunch of signage for my booth, with pricing and a couple other like little informational bits and pieces to have on display so that people can just read it and they don't have to feel like they have to talk to me. Because I know sometimes when I go shopping at markets, I sometimes like to be quiet and just like kind of browse and maybe not talk to people. And if I don't have to talk to people, sometimes I don't. So first off, I'm doing my sourdough starter. It needs to be fed. This is just a coffee filter that I use to keep flies and such out, but allow it to breathe. This container is 951 grams. So I'm gonna tear it out, see how much starter I actually have in here. So it's 1574. And we have we have 623 grams of starter in there right now. Okay, so I am not going to use this other jar because, let me get down here. Because after I get my sourdough starter out of this in the morning for the bagels, I'll go ahead and refeed it. I only need 400 grams of sourdough starter for my quadruple banana bread recipe. So if I don't have to mess with 2 separate containers of sourdough starter, I'm okay with that. So I'm gonna get this guy, I'm going to discard. I've already been saving a bunch of sourdough starter for selling. So I am just going to discard, like toss it, and then we'll give this a good feeding so that it's ready for bagels in the morning. So now let us see what we have. We have 1208, which means we have 353. So I think that's gonna be fine. I'm gonna grab my spatula. So depending on when you need this used, you could use warmer water or cool water. Cooler water is gonna make it so that this takes longer to rise. Warmer water is gonna make it rise faster. I'm just using cool water because I'm gonna be doing this in the morning, and that's about 10 hours from now. What did we have? 303. Okay, so 300 grams of water. So I'm gonna do a 1:1 ratio. So that is probably gonna be this whole. So we got 313, not exactly on the dot, but the sourdough is not gonna know the difference of an extra couple grams, give or take. It's not picky. So we need to add 313 grams of flour. I'm gonna tear that out. I like to use the King Arthur unbleached flour, although I am considering, I was going to actually do an Azure order, which I've never done before, but it wasn't going to be ready before this market, which is when I really would have needed it. So I'm holding off now. But in the meantime, I really do like King Arthur flour. It is a little more expensive sometimes. Sometimes you can find it on a deal. But I like the idea of all of the different options that Azure has, especially with the larger quantities that they provide. That's 200, 270, 290, That's probably way too much. 324. Added a couple more grams of flour. I'm going to take this off of my scale because I don't want to mess up the scale, because you can change how it reads the different weights if you stir stuff on it. And I'm just going to give this a good stir. So I don't want any weird floury clumps in this when I go to mix it into my bagels tomorrow. I like to scrape down the sides just to really make sure that everything is incorporated and it doesn't dry out too much. All right. Basement fridge is where I let my cookies cold ferment. So I've got a bunch of little sample cookies. I made these a lot smaller than I previously did because I did have a bunch of kids that were just coming up taking them, and I don't really mind them trying them, but I also wanted to make these so that potential customers, people who are actually wanting to buy cookies, could try them. So I've got both the dark chocolate and then some milk chocolate testers, as well as the larger size cookies for the sale. Don't mind my messy basement, but I've got my table down here, which I need to wash off because I brought my plants in the other night because it got a little too cold for the peppers, and so I just brought everything in and it got kind of dirty. So I need to wash this because this is going to be coming with us to the market. I've got my tent, the top cover, the wall that goes along with that, and then I've got my dahlia tubers that I'm bringing to market in here, already bagged up and ready to go. And I'm super excited about these because they've got eyes on them and they are all viable. So I'm super excited to be sharing these with others because they are just beautiful dahlias. I don't know how I'm gonna display those quite yet, but that's okay. So I've got those in there to bring. I'm gonna keep them in the dark because I don't want them to get weird. And then, my laundry. So all of the plants are looking pretty good. These are actually my plants for my garden. And I did start some pumpkins. These are Jardales, the galop d'anise, which is that French pumpkin. I've got the butternut squash, and it looks like my spaghetti squash is just starting to pop out. I haven't decided whether or not I'm going to be bringing any of these guys because they just look so bad. I feel so bad. Maybe I will take a few of them because, like, this one looks really nice, and this one looks okay, but like, some of them look really sad, and maybe I'll just plant a bunch of eggplants in my garden this year. And then there are a few peppers that just, they're not looking great. Like, these guys are all crispy fried. But then there's some really good looking ones. So again, I'll be just taking the really nice looking peppers with me to market and leaving behind the really sad ones. And whatever doesn't get taken, I will find a place to put in my garden. Don't know where, but I will. The same thing goes for the tomato plants. I have some that look phenomenal, and then there's these ones. So I don't really know what's going on. I feel like all of my Black Beauty this year just look really sad. I don't know why. I really don't. I do have some 6 cells of some lettuce leaf basil that looks really good. I think there are a few cells that are empty, so I'll probably just swap them around. But I'm super excited about sharing all of these beautiful plants with people. Like, look at that. That looks so good. Okay, anyway. You guys are gonna see a ton of plants. I'm super excited. I just wanna share all the plant love. Okay, my first recipe is going to be the everything bagel. I need 1,000 grams of bread flour. We've got 1,000 grams of flour in there. We need to add 22 grams of salt. I use pink Himalayan salt. You just need to use anything that's not iodized. So you use kosher salt, sea salt, pink Himalayan. All right, that's 24, that's fine. And then we need 48 grams of sugar. I'm gonna tear that out. You could probably substitute this out for honey or maple syrup or any other sugar substitute that you would like. I'm just going to whisk this all together. So the flour, sugar, salt, and then I'm going to put some saran wrap on it and give it the label of everything bagel because I'm not adding inclusions into this one. Plus this the double recipe, not the quadruple recipe. So I apologize if this morning was a little quiet. It was 5:30 in the morning. I was trying to get things done before I had to go to work because I did have to work a half day today. Thank you, sister, for letting me get half the day off because it really was helpful, is still helpful. So currently I had a banana loaf in the oven. So I had enough sourdough starter to make one loaf. I only have one of my 16 by 4.5 by 3.5 loaf pans, and I wasn't about to go buy another one, so I have to wait for that one to cool. It's currently cooling and it looks so good. I love banana bread. I actually used to work at a smoothie shop and we sold these little single slices of banana bread, and I'd always pop them in my freezer, and they were just so delicious. They wouldn't be like rock hard. They'd be kind of soft, like a good, I don't know, bananas are super sweet. And so you put them in the freezer and they get a little, they kind of have like the texture of ice cream, except it's not ice cream. It's still extremely sweet with all of the sugars in the banana. But it's one of my favorite things. I love banana bread. So I love sharing the sourdough banana bread with everyone. So I'm waiting for that one to cool. So while that one is cooling, I am going to start getting my cookies baked. So we made these together about 2 days ago, which these can stay in the fridge for the cold fermentation for anywhere from 1 to 2 days. So we're gonna get these made. It's a little less than 2 days because I made these at night. We're gonna start with the sample cookies. because I only have my smaller pan because my two really large pans are holding all of this cookie dough. So I'm gonna wash my hands so I don't have banana bread residue on them, and then get these guys placed out on the cookie sheet. They get cooked for about 20 minutes. It might be a little less with these small sample size cookies that I have. Usually it's 20 minutes, halfway in between. I will flip the sheet around and rotate sheets if I have two sheets in my oven. And it's baked at 350 degrees Fahrenheit. I'll put the Celsius down here. Okay, let me wash my hands. So we're gonna get these guys loaded up. Hopefully we can just get these all baked at one time. Alright, got that guy loaded up. We're gonna get this in the oven. Get this off the oven so it doesn't get too warm. Alright, so I have the cookie samples in a little bag labeled. I've got the banana bread samples in a little bag also labeled. There's going to be another batch of these to come because I have a second loaf of banana bread that is going to go in the oven. We've got 2 batches of cookies in there, and I need to get started on rolling out my blueberry bagels. So this is a double recipe. Typically, one recipe would make 8, about 100-gram bagels. I'm going to try to get or size my bagels at about 125 grams, 150 grams a piece. A little bigger than I usually do because I feel like they were a little bit too small. So I want to give them a little bit of a size up and see what I think of that. Okay, friends, so I took a little break, but that was just from filming. So I've got all of the milk chocolate cookies completely done. So the last batch came out of the oven about 5 minutes ago, and so they're on the cooling rack now. I got a fresh sheet of parchment paper on this larger cookie sheet. I've got my I've got my water boiling or starting to boil, and then once that starts boiling, I'm gonna add some maple syrup. Sometimes I use honey. I don't have any honey right now. I'm really hoping that my friend May gives me some here soon. I did ask her recently if her bees were in excess honey yet, and it's not quite there. You gotta make sure when you're beekeeping that you're leaving enough honey for the bees, and then anything that's extra can be used to sell. But she's not quite there yet, I don't think. So, waiting on honey, using maple syrup in the meantime. It's perfectly fine for boiling your bagels. You can also use sugar. It just kind of gives it that glossy outer shell. So we've got our blueberry bagels doing their second rise after giving them the whole. My everything bagels have gotten they're on their first rise. Once I start putting these to boil, I will go ahead and give those guys their holes. I just kind of want to make sure I'm not touching those and then touching the blueberry bagels because those have a very oniony scent and smell or taste. And I don't really want the blueberry bagels to have that same taste when they're supposed to be blueberry. So after I get these guys boiled, I will change the water out that I'm boiling them in because I don't want the flavors to kind of cross over. It's also why I'm doing my jalapeno cheddar bagels at the very end because those ones are spicy. So that is where we are at right now. It is, I think, almost 7 o'clock at night, which I think we're gonna get finished around 10 because I still have probably 2 rounds of cookies to go in the oven for the dark chocolate. I have all of the bagels to do. I still have the jalapeno cheddar, and then I have 1 more loaf of banana bread. It's getting close for this loaf of banana bread to be cut. And you guys can see how glorious it is. It looks so tasty. It smells so good. I won't lie, I've already eaten a few of these samples because I love banana bread. So the oven is preheated to 425. I'm gonna get some eggs out because I'm gonna use egg whites to wash the tops of the bagels once they're finished boiling. Again, I'm gonna get that nice glossy brown finish on the bagels. Yeah. Also, I don't know if I showed you guys my new bagel tool. So I found this at IKEA when we went the other day, and it just has like it's like the perfect size for getting the bagels out of the water, whereas before I was trying to use my the tongs to get them out, and this is this is going to be a game changer because it's going to drain the water and I'm not going to be piercing the bagels accidentally with the tongs. I'm so excited about this. This was, I think, a really good buy. All right, so the bagels are finished. We're gonna get these in the oven. They've been egg washed, so they'll get a nice brown, silky smooth finish. And I don't really need to give them space because they're really not gonna puff up too much. So this is gonna go into the oven for about 20 to 25 minutes at 425 Fahrenheit. We are working on the jalapeno cheddar bagels. I did a quadruple recipe of this because I'm just so excited about it. So I did something even different. I'm experimenting even on market day. So this time, instead of just doing an inclusion of the white cheddar, I added in some jalapeno not slices, they're chopped jalapenos. I de-seeded them, got rid of the core, and added in, it was about 2 jalapenos worth, pretty good size jalapenos for my quadruple recipe. So that's about half of a jalapeno per recipe. I have no idea what it's gonna do. I don't know if it's gonna make it extremely spicy. I don't know if it's going to just add like a really nice overall like pepper flavor. But we're gonna get these guys divvied up into about 125 grams per. This recipe should give me about 29 and a half bagels. I probably will distribute that last half of a bagel amongst all of the other bagels so that I'm not getting a smaller bagel. There'll just be a few that are just like a tiny bit bigger. So these have white cheddar in them, they have jalapenos, and I'm super excited about this. So let's get these guys divvied up. Good morning, friends. So I ended up turning off the camera after a little bit because it ended up being a lot longer of a baking night than I was anticipating. I spent probably a good 6 to 7 hours baking. A little more than I was anticipating, but again, it's okay. So today I need to finish up finalizing product. I need to make sure that I am taking what I want to take to market and not taking things that are super sad or that look pathetic, because that will kind of like decrease the overall sensation of my plants, if you know what I'm saying. Instead of there just being like all beautiful green plants, if there's gonna be like one weird curly yellow one or a few curly yellow ones, might make the rest just a bit less appealing. So I need to make sure I'm getting the ones that I want to take, and then I also want to take inventory. So I could just do a simple, here's how many tomato plants, here's how many pepper plants. I want to take it a step further and actually know which varieties, just so I have an idea of how many plants I actually took and what varieties I took, and maybe, well, if everything doesn't sell, then it'll give me a better idea of like, well, this one was a really good seller, this one wasn't, and maybe this one will be a good one to take again. So that's my idea, my thoughts. I am still mulling over the price points of my plants, because I don't want them to be like super expensive, obviously. Loki. So as it sits right now, obviously, like that's not going. I just, so many sad tomato plants, like same varieties that look phenomenal, and then just some weird ones. Maybe I'll do like a half price one on the really sad ones, because those guys just look so sad and I don't understand. I don't know what happened. So like all of these all look great. These ones are just smaller because they got started a little later, because these were seeds that were left in the pots. They decided to germinate later, so all of these look really good. These guys look sad. I may not even bring any of those. I may just forget this entire tray. Inside of the corner, there's Velcro. You Velcro on the whole blank of the ground. Just Velcro over here. Can you fix the outside bit, and I'll hold it right here until we can pop it up. Okay. Cool. All right. Let me go over it.
The button and then push up.
Yeah, the red button you push in and then pull up. I can think straight again. I had to think inside to the left. Good, you're recording. I was just about to ask if you've gotten any footage. YouTube's.
Usually when I see landscape mode, I know it's for walls. All right, Davey, Amanda, give me a smile. You don't want this picture. Perfect. Just making sure I'm snapping all the stuff like a mom.
Oh Lord. We need it. Okay,
We're gonna use my shirt.
I didn't bring anything to clean that with though. Okay. You don't have anyone next to you then again?
They're supposed to be.
That's what I thought.
I think I'm gonna run over to the.
Friends, it has been a beautiful day. It rained for a good 3 hours before it cleared up, and it is now hot. It got really cold and now it's hot. We are actually at the end of the time, so we're gonna get ready to close down because the event should be closing down about 3. So here is the booth with all of, next time I'm going to get a tablecloth because that's a whole mess. But we've got all of our stuff set out beautifully. Sourdough was not the main attraction this time around. Dahlias went really well. And then it was the plant starts that really got people to come in. So we still have a ton. I'm gonna have to figure out where I can go ahead and donate these to. I wanna find some local community gardens to donate a lot of these plants to, because I definitely do not have space for all of these. And I know that there are going to be some people out there that are going to love some free plants. Guys, we are all finished with the market. We are trying to figure out how to fit this all in my 4-door sedan. So we came here with 3 vehicles because my friend May was so gracious to bring her truck and her car. So we had 3 vehicles. Now we're on 1. I got a 4-door sedan. So we were playing Jenga, trying to fit all of the stuff in here, plus 2 humans, full-sized. So we're gonna figure this out. I'm gonna go help my boyfriend because he is still packing things up. This is what we have left, plants. We're gonna break down boxes to give ourselves more space because no need for boxes anymore. All right. Hey friends, I am actually getting ready to film a separate video today, but I wanted to pop in at the end of this video just to say how grateful I am to have had the opportunity to sell plants to people in my community. I did end up taking home about half of the plants that I had taken to the market, which honestly, like, it was so much fun. It was such a good experience, and I am just so grateful that I got the chance to do it. So I went on my local Cincinnati gardening what is it called? Oh my gosh. Forum, Facebook page. And basically said that I was looking for people to donate my plants to, or organizations, local community food gardens, anything of the sort. I had someone tag someone else within like the first 30 minutes, basically saying, I think that this person was looking like a couple months ago for people to donate plants. And that lady actually reached out to me within 5 minutes after that and basically told me I'll come today to pick them up. So this lady actually runs an organization in Oxford, Ohio by Miami University, and she basically helps students at Miami with food, clothing, anything that they really need to help them get through. And so she picked up 6 trays of tomatoes, peppers, and a few eggplants, and as well some basils, just some random things that I knew weren't going to fit in my garden, and I decided they would be better off going with her. And so she came and she picked up all 6 trays of plants. She was super grateful, super sweet, and I'm just really excited that she gets to use those now. So it was overall a really, really wonderful experience. I am so grateful for my friend May, her husband, and my boyfriend, of course, for helping me get through that day. And thank you to every single one of you who stopped by, said hi. Maybe you got plants, maybe you got sourdough, maybe you just gave me a hug. I really appreciated it, and I'm excited for the next one because, it's going to be a little bit, but I'm excited and just want to say thank you guys.